Hello, welcome to a new video. If you are returning, welcome. If you are new, hi, welcome to my awkward self. Today I am doing a September favorites video. I didn't do an August one. I don't really do my makeup often enough or try out new products often enough to do a monthly favorites video. So my favorites are just kind of when I want to share what I've been loving over the course of like 2 or 3 months. So I'm going to be sharing some new favorites for you. I've been loving a lot of new things lately. So without further ado, here are my favorites. The first favorite on my list is a primer. This is the Backlight Priming Filter from Becca Cosmetics. I got this from a recent BoxyCharm. I've always wanted to try out Becca primers. I don't really hear too much about them, so I don't really know if they would work well for me or not. But this one I have been really liking lately. I do have big pores. I'm not sure if you can tell, but they are big. I haven't really found a blurring primer that really does blur them really well. The Cover FX blurring primer is about the closest or the best one that I've found. I didn't know this was going to blur my skin at all. I thought it was just going to be a luminous primer, which it is, but it also blurs my skin to my surprise. So I kind of get 2 primers in one. I always thought a primer couldn't blur and be luminous. I always felt like for some reason they had to be like one or the other. They couldn't be both. But this one definitely is both for me. It blurs my pores and gives me a nice glow. The only thing I don't like, well, 2 things I guess. The first one isn't that big, it's the price. But I don't do my face makeup too often anyway, so this little tube is going to last me a pretty long time before I have to buckle down and buy another one, since I do like it a lot. But the main thing I don't like about this primer is the smell. It's very, very strong, and I'm not sensitive to smells at all. But this one definitely gives me a headache, even with the slightest bit. In my BoxyCharm video, I did do like a little swatch on my hand, and I took a very tiny amount, and the smell was still so strong and overpowering and headache inducing. So if you are sensitive to smells even slightly, I would not recommend this primer. I don't know about the other Becca primers, but definitely this one is super strong with the smell. Next on my favorites list is a blurring powder. This is from Milk Makeup. It is their Blur and Set Loose Setting Powder. This is only the second loose setting powder that I've tried, and I've been liking it a lot lately. I don't really do face makeup often. If you couldn't tell, I'm not even wearing it. When I do, I always had that kind of cakey, dry look to my skin. I used to have oily skin, and then I started taking care of it, and it became dry, but I only had matte foundations. I still only have matte foundation. I just kind of always had a double-edged sword of always having cakey, dry looking foundation. And so I would never ever powder at all because it would just add to it. But with my new Becca primer, it's kind of helped that kind of cakey look. My matte foundations don't dry out my skin as much, so the powder doesn't look cakey. And I've been liking this one. It does actually blur my skin more than I thought it would. I don't use under eye concealer just because I wear glasses. It kind of covers any kind of imperfections I might have under my eyes. But I do just use this powder right underneath my eyes, and it blurs it and kind of gives me a good amount of coverage for the issues that I do have down under my eyes. But I have been liking the way it blurs my skin, the way it sits on my skin. It doesn't make it look dry or emphasize texture too much or anything. The only thing I don't like about the powder is it does have like a little net in it, this little net. I feel like just no product comes out of the net. I just feel like it's kind of pointless. I never feel like I get anything on my sponge or my brush. So if you do like baking, I would recommend just cutting that net out. But other than that, it's a very nice powder. If you like loose setting powders, I would recommend trying this one out. The next product on my list is this Prosecco Pop highlighter from Becca Cosmetics. I thought this was going to be too dark for my skin, and it was too dark for my skin. It was too golden when I first got it for some reason, but once I started to use it a lot more, and I kind of found skin products that worked a little better for me, and I got a little better at applying face makeup, I realized that it was kind of more pale golden instead of as golden as I thought it was. And it matches my skin really well. There's a little swatchy. But it's a very pretty highlighter. It's not too in your face, blinding, bold highlight, but it does give you a nice glow. The powder's super fine. It's not glittery at all like a lot of highlighters tend to be. It's a very smooth formula, and it just looks really pretty on the skin. I don't feel like it emphasizes the texture that I already have on my skin any more than any other highlighter I would use. So I do like this highlighter, and I have been liking it a lot more than I thought I would. Another eye favorite is this Lid Lockup Eye Primer from CoverGirl. I got this from Influencer. I've mentioned it in a previous video. I'm pretty much out of this eye primer. I used it for every single look that I did for my July and August daily eye look challenge. So 60 plus makeup looks, and I'm just now running out of it. I probably will repurchase it once I use up my other eye primers I have, but I did really love this one. My shadows stayed put all day long, and even if I would rub my eye, they would still look pretty good. And when I went to take off my eye makeup at the end of the day, I still felt that tackiness of the eyeshadow primer, which I really like. I don't know if anyone else does, but it just makes me feel like it's doing its job. It's holding my eyeshadow in place and not budging, so that's a really big plus for me. It's not the thickest or most coverage giving eye primer, but it does add a little bit of coverage. It kind of blends in with my skin tone, so it's not too noticeable, but it is a nice primer for the drugstore. My last eye specific favorite is a lash from Pure Cosmetics. This is the Bombshell Style, and it's just this one on the right. Ignore these ones, but it's kind of like a long, full, wispy lash. And when I first got these, I wasn't into that kind of lash. I was more into small, natural ones because of my small eyes. I wasn't comfortable wearing lashes like these, but it definitely grew on me the past few months. I have been really loving it. I love the way it looks on my eyes, and they're super comfortable to wear. And for $14, I've gotten probably like 20 uses out of it already. So it's definitely a great lash for the price. I've been loving the style and the look of it, and I would recommend trying out some Pure lashes. Next on my favorites list is some glitter. These are from Shop Miss A from their brand AOA Studio. You could totally use these on anywhere on your body, your face, your eyes, anywhere. And these are loose glitters. Each set comes with 10 different glitters, and there's 2 different formulas between the 2 sets. That's why there's 2 of them. And to show you kind of the difference between them, so the crystal powder is the one in the black lid, and then the diamond powder is the one in the white lid. The diamond powders are a little more fine, and they're a little smoother. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. It can get very messy, so I'm trying to be very careful, because as you can see, there's no sifter or anything, and so it's very easy to get messy with these. So I'm just trying to be careful so I don't have glitter everywhere. The crystal powder set is still fine, like the glitter is still kind of a fine glitter, but it has thicker glitter flecks than the diamond powder ones. If you can, I don't know if you'll be able to tell the difference, but the little glitter flecks in the crystal powders are a little bit thicker. They're a little more sparkly, but like I said, they can get messy very quick, and that's really the only downside to them. I just don't like the packaging of them. I really like these glitters. Each set was $10, and like I said, you get 10 different colors each. Especially with the diamond powders, there's different finishes. Some are duochrome, some are iridescent, some are metallic. So you're really getting a really great variety of glitters in these little sets. I really haven't experienced anything bad with them. They do have fallout, but I mean, it's loose glitter. It's kind of expected. It's the territory of glitter. And you are going to need a glitter primer or some kind of sticky base to kind of press them on to wherever you're putting them. But that's just a given with loose glitter. I really like these. I've really had a lot of fun doing some eye looks with them this past few months. And I would definitely recommend getting these. They're not sold individually yet on Shop Miss A, but they are worth the set, the $10 to get the set, and I would recommend trying them out. So the last things on my favorites are some brushes. This is also from Shop Miss A, from their brand line AOA Studio. This is their faux mink brush set. I do have their high def brush set as well. That was the first one they ever came out with, and I really liked that one. But this faux mink set has been everything to me. These eye brushes, I have used just these in like every single eye look, and they're amazing. And it's pretty, like, you could just use these for every look and achieve any kind of eye look. So you got a fluffy brush that's great for blending out edges, and then you got this kind of thin angled brush. I use this for either applying shadow on my bottom lash line or kind of getting like a shadow line, a shadow liner on my eye. And then it kind of got this big fluffy shading brush kind of. You could pack color on the lid or just smoke out some colors. And then there's this little tiny one. My daughter, if you didn't watch my BoxyCharm video, my daughter is a toddler. She likes to stick stuff in her mouth, and she chewed on this one. That's why it looks a little weird, but it's just kind of like a small little fluffy brush. And I really like this if I'm doing a halo eye or if I'm just trying to deepen up the outer corner. It works really well to pick up a black shadow or whatever dark shadow you're using, and to really apply it right where you want it so it's not getting out of hand or anything. It's really great for that. And then there's this little crease brush. At least that's what I use it for, a little to add color in my crease. If I just want it in my crease, it's really great for that. And these brushes are all so soft. They blend out my eyeshadow so well, and I've just been loving them so much. And they're literally the only eye brushes I've been using for like 2 months. And I haven't had bristles falling out or anything, so they're really great quality. And these, like their glitters, are $10 for 10 brushes, so essentially $1 a brush. And for the face brushes, this one I use for like my highlighter. It's kind of like a tapered, small, fluffy brush. This one I kind of use, sometimes I use it for my bronzer, or sometimes I just use it for my setting powder. It's kind of a tapered, fluffy powder brush. And then this one I usually use for contour or bronzer. It's just an angled, fluffy brush. It works really well for that. And this is probably the only brush that I don't really use. I feel like, actually I don't think I've ever used it. It's just a flat top brush. But it would be great if you like to stipple your foundation in with a brush or press it in. It'd be great for that. Or it'd be great for buffing out like your contour or anything, just to kind of blend it all together. Then the last one I use for my blush. It's just kind of your traditional, generic, just fluffy dome brush. It's really great for blush. I like it. But I have been loving this set so much. It's very worth it. I would definitely recommend checking out AOA Studio's brushes. And they come with their own little brush roll. So if you don't have brush holders like me, or if you just don't have a lot of space for brush holders, you got your own little brush holder, brush roll holder thing. Look at that. And those are all of my favorites that I have been loving the past couple months. There is actually a lot more than I thought there would be. I tried to include new themes and themes that I really have been loving and always reaching for. I've been playing around with makeup a lot more the past couple months, and so I've been really trying out everything in my collection and giving everything a fair go. Make sure if you want to see any makeup looks that I do create, follow me on Instagram or Twitter. I've been trying to get better at posting my makeup pictures on Twitter, but I'm not the best. But definitely Instagram. I always post my makeup looks on Instagram. They are all magically penned to keep it easy for you to find me. Thank you so much for joining me for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one for some more fun.